Well, thanks for joining us on Bloomberg Quint. I have with me Rakesh Sharma, MD and CEO of Canara Bank, and we're talking about the Q4 earnings of Canara Bank. So good to have you with us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
You reported higher than expected losses for this quarter, but close to the range of 5,000. What actually led to that?
Exactly, for the quarter the loss was 4,860 crore, and for the year it was 4,222 crore. Now we have to see the background in this sense. One is during the current financial year, the bond yield had risen, and it had increased from 6.66 as on 31st March 17 to 7.40 as March 18. So as a result, one, the treasury income was also affected. There we could note on good treasury income. Second, we had to provide for M2M losses. Second, earlier some of the cases which were stressed were under a resolution plan, either under SDR or S4A, but because due to the changed guidelines, all these schemes were withdrawn, and we had to classify these accounts as NPA. Normally the resolution process under SDR S4A takes 6 to 18 months, so these were under process only, but we had to classify this NPA. So as a result, the slippages have increased to 13,000 crores.
Okay.
Mainly out of that, mainly 8,100 crores was mainly account of these changed instructions.
Okay.
And of course there were some failed SDR cases were there. So as a result, we had to provide higher provisioning. Secondly, the RBI had given us dispensation that we can stagger the mark-to-market losses during the next 4 quarters, but we decided not to stagger it, and completely we have provided as on 31st March 18 only, because we did not want to carry it forward. Second, RBI had also given dispensation for making provisions in NCLT cases, that instead of making 50%, you can make 40% provision, and remaining provision can be made during the next quarter. Again, we decided not to carry it forward. So they basically, the dispensation provided by RBI, which we could have availed, was almost 2,031 crore, which we decided to make it during the current quarter itself, so that they let us make it clean and don't carry it forward. So all these factors have contributed to the higher loss. But if you see, net interest income during the quarter has grown by 10% YOY, and full year it has grown by almost 23%. In other parameters also, net interest margin, there is improvement. Other areas also there is lot of improvement is there. So that way, this is only one time basically.
Right. You also announced the divergence of about 3,200 crores. I want to understand what is the status of those accounts now?
No, those already have been provided. Divergence was basically the RBI will come under for this RBS risk-based supervision audit in the during July-August every year. So last year, this July-August, the audit was conducted. So some cases there was a difference opinion. Then the RBI thought we had of course provided as per the prudential norms, but in some cases RBI feel that these accounts are weak accounts, so they said that these accounts should also be made NPA. So accordingly we had represented, but finally RBI advised, no, you have to make these accounts NPA. So these have already been classified. In fact, major accounts, most of the accounts were classified on our own by either on 30th June or in some cases 30th September also. And during the current quarter, such accounts are only 769 crore. Remaining have already been classified as NPA.
And how many accounts have been classified as an NPA post the February 12th circular by the RBI?
That is 8,181 crore.
Okay. And can you give me the aggregate provision cover on the two NCLT?
So aggregate, the two NCLT cases, for that list was there. First list, we had 12 accounts were there, and we are there in all the 12 accounts, and our exposure in the account was around 10,200 crore. In second case, we are there in 16 cases, and our exposure is less there, 4,800 crore. So roughly we are having approximately 15,000 outstanding is there. So as per RBI norms, the revised guidelines, they said that either you have to provide 40% or as per prudential norms, but the earlier guidelines were 50%. But we have provided as per prudential norms or 50%, whichever is higher. So as of now, in all these accounts, we are holding average provision of 62%, which is quite, I will say more than reasonable, because you would have seen in those accounts wherever bids are coming, the haircuts is in the range of 30 to 35%. On an average, maybe 35-40, of course will depend from case to case. So 62% is more than adequate. Will not be required to make any additional provision. Rather, we may be able to write back also.
And NPA went up to almost 11%.
Now LPA is 11.8%, but this is again, this 8,100 which has to be classified as NPA. Already those accounts were under process.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, these two list accounts are also under process. In the first list accounts, all the cases have been referred to NCLT, have been admitted also. And most of these accounts are at advanced stages. Similarly, second list, some of the cases have already been referred to NCLT, admitted also. Some cases are under process. So there is a time-bound process. So this first list account, second list account, and those accounts which have been classified as NPA now, and of course the other are already under resolution plan. So various stages, this resolution will happen during the current year also and during subsequent.
And you have a timeline in mind, when do you aim to bring down?
No, basically as per IBC, that bankruptcy code, the timeline is there, but in some cases, because recently this act has come, some cases the timelines are being, then NCLT is giving approval for that. So during the current year we'll see a lot of resolution, because it's a time bound process. But second case is like where we decide not to go for NCLT because it's left to the bank, where the plant is running, operations are viable, as per forensic audit nothing adverse has been pointed out. So in those cases we'll go for restructuring. Now as per old restructuring instruction, we could upgrade the account after 1 year satisfactory conduct, but now as per revised guidelines we can upgrade only after the specified period, and specified period means when the 20% of the principal is repaid. So it may be upgraded after 2 to 3 years. But at the same time, when resolution happens, we will be able to book the interest income, and the normal operations will happen.
And you made a second sort of attempt to sell 30% of the CanFin homes. Who are the participants, and what are the really issues there?
In fact, we had gone for open process, and initially, if I remember, 7 non-binding bids were received. After that, 2 binding bids were there, and finally we opened the bid also. But of course the market price was, although it was above the market rate that time prevailing, but it was below our expected level, because since we were transferring the full management control, we expected some management control premium also. So that's why the deal was called off. But as of now, we have decided to strengthen our subsidiary. We have already posted one more whole-time director. Now there are 2 whole-time directors are there. Subsidiary is doing well. This CanFin home doing very well, and we want to strengthen it.
And when do you aim to monetize your stake?
No, this as of now we want to strengthen it.
Okay.
So no decision to monetize now as of now. We'll see in the regular process.
Right, and there are also reports of you're looking to generate to raise about 450 crores by selling Can Bank factors. Is that still on the table?
Not 450 crores. We have, of course, we have a plan for monetizing Can Bank factors, and this Canara one, we have one more subsidiary, computers. So the process is
cumulative of that is 450.
Computers. But these are small subsidiaries. Net worth of Can factor is around 70 crores.
Okay.
So not 450. So, but it will depend on the bids, how much we are able to realize. But the process is on.
And can you give me an outlook for FY19 in terms of growth and bad loan accounts?
Okay. Now as far as growth is concerned, during the current year, we have our advances have grown by around more than 11%, 11.6. So, but the major growth has happened in retail, SME, and agriculture, and of course corporate also we have grown, and same trend will be continued. We propose to grow more than around 10 to 12%, and we are adequately capitalized also for that. Our capital adequacy was 13.22 as on 31st March 18. So, but retail we want to grow around 20%, 20 to 25%, SME and agriculture around more than 10%, 10 to 12. But this corporate around 7 to 8%, like this we want to grow. So overall, I think in double digit will grow.
And lastly, one of your telecom clients also filed for bankruptcy. What is that client, and has that also included in the Q4?
No, this basically like in one, that account has been, I'll not mention individually, will not mention and discuss about the names and all other things, but yes, that account telecom also we had a slippage of around 2,000 crore during the current quarter.
Okay.
And resolution will happen.
All right. Thank you, sir, for speaking to Bloomberg.
Thank you very much. Nice talking to you.